signs.
Last year, the city came out and see those no parking signs. Put all of those no parking signs up and down the school on that side and this side of the street. If they can afford to do that and take the time to do that, why could they not put school signs up?
They've contacted everyone they could think of. Duval Public Schools, the city, the school itself, even FDOT. But they haven't gotten any straight answers or action.
I don't understand what the barrier is of why people are so against us trying to get safety for our children, but that's what it seems to be coming to.
After years of frustration, Carrie went as far as to donate these Slow Children signs to the school, but she's still waiting for signs to be put up everywhere else.
I just went out and just bought the slow children, but you see they only face one direction. Not everybody can see them, but that's what I did just to try to help, trying to make people aware that there is a school here.
We spoke to our law and safety expert Dale Carson, who says under state law the city would be responsible for requesting school signage from the Department of Transportation. All Carrie and Winston want is for the students to be safe.
I would like the city, somebody, anybody, to please put up school signs.
I reached out to the city a little over an hour ago to see if they have put in any requests for signage to DOT. I will let you know what the city says as soon as they respond. Live in Jacksonville, Danny Bozzini, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
Right now, JSO is looking for a carjacking suspect. Police also say there is a woman being held against her will by her boyfriend. JSO looking for a silver Toyota Scion with the Tennessee tag 8PO8UO. They could be staying in the Jacksonville Beach area. If you see them, call 911. Cracking down on golf cart safety in St. Johns County.
This comes after a pair of high-profile incidents just this year that left 2 teens with serious head injuries. Action News Jax investigator Russell Colburn live in Nocatee and Russell. Deputies say they will now be stepping up patrols and enforcement.
Yeah, dozens attended an information session with them tonight that just wrapped up a few hours ago, and more we're watching on a Facebook Live. And here in Nocatee, this is how they mark where you can ride your golf cart. You can see that sign right there, whether it's on the trail or on the road. You can see it there, also etched into the trail. And we're hearing from parents who have real safety concerns, including who should be driving those carts. 14 years old, do you think that's too young?
Absolutely. 100%. I believe that the state law needs to be changed. 14 is too young. If you don't have a driver's license, you should not be driving a golf cart.
That's just one of the concerns Megan Perkins has about the golf cart use in her Nocatee neighborhood. She's a member of the St. Johns County Sheriff's Advisory Council, or SHADCO.
The #1 safety concern right now is golf cart safety.
Action News Jax told you in January when 17-year-old Olivia Love suffered serious head injuries when she fell off the back of a golf cart in St. Augustine. She's having to relearn how to walk and talk. And in July, 14-year-old Luke Tabor had a traumatic brain injury when he fell off a golf cart in Durbin Crossing.
Most of our crashes have been primarily with juveniles under 16 years of age.
Commander Scott Beaver led an information session Wednesday night focusing on who can drive the carts and where. He said the sheriff's office will be enforcing rules like age requirements, even using patrolling deputies on golf carts. Perkins says big changes in driver behavior are so needed.
They're on their phones or they're just being erratic, and I don't want to have that with my 2 kids on the golf cart.
And here's one of those behaviors we saw firsthand out here. You're looking live now at a golf cart path, but if we slide you right, people were just driving their golf carts right across the street here during the day. This is a busy area right here in front of that shopping center. And we also found some more safety concerns that we got on video, and we sent them to the commander for him to review and talk about enforcement. We'll have that all new at 11. Live in Nocatee, Russell Colburn, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
Today, jury selection began in the high-profile case involving 2 former Jacksonville City Council members. Katrina Brown and Reggie Brown were indicted for accusations of money laundering and fraud. Action News Jax caught up with both of the defendants this morning.
Tell us why you decided to represent yourself.
Constitutional right.
Comment on what you're expecting to come out of the trial.
I'm just hoping that justice will be served. I mean, that's all we can ask for as Americans. Thank you.
The juror selection process will resume tomorrow. The trial is scheduled to start next week.
The confessed killer of a local mom was sentenced to death. Action News Jax told you in May when Donald Davidson pleaded guilty to the 2014 murder of Roseanne Welsh. The sexual predator admitted to cutting off his ankle monitor, killing the mother of two in her Middleburg home, and then kidnapping her 10-year-old daughter. Welsh's loved ones say death is what Davidson deserves, but it still won't bring her back.
She's just a special part of us that we'll never get back. We'll see her in heaven one day.
Action News Jax also talked to a woman that Davidson attacked 4 years before Welsh's murder, and she says knowing that he'll be put to death also brings her closure.
A former Live Oak police sergeant will spend the rest of his life in federal prison after a judge found him guilty on child porn charges. According to court documents, in October of 2015, Kyle Kirby was arrested following an online sex investigation. During a search warrant at his Live Oak home, detectives say they found disturbing images of minors engaged in sexual activity. Kirby's attorney tried to appeal the decision, but it was upheld. Last night, we told you how the FBI was helping local parents keep their children from being targeted online by predators. Offenders are now not only using apps on mobile devices, but also video games. For a full look at the story, visit actionnewsjax.com. Breathing new life into a local neighborhood where many say they have felt forgotten for years.
Only on Action News Jax, new details on a project to clean up and beautify Moncrief that begins this fall. New at 10, Action News Jax Amber Kriska is live in Moncrief. And Amber, a couple of council members behind the project say it's going to bring some pride to the community.
Yeah, and one of the big changes neighbors will notice out here, the pedestrian overpass bridge, and where you can see that welcome sign there, well, that will soon come down, and it's actually going to say, "Welcome to Royal Terrace." There will be an overhang for pedestrians, benches, trees, lighting, and artwork.
The neighborhood has kind of went down from what it used to be 15, 20 years ago.
But Chef John Cartel brought his food truck to the Moncrief area about a year ago. He says he believes in his neighborhood, and he says it feels good to know the city is investing in his community.
I grew up in this neighborhood, so it felt good to come back home.
It's going to bring back pride in the community, and it's going to show the community that Jacksonville really cares about them.
Council members Sam Newby and Jacoby Pittman are behind the $4.1 million beautification project. The work will stretch from 34th to 45th Streets. It will include trees, lighting, landscaping, maintenance, painting, safety improvements, and artwork. This is what the pedestrian overpass bridge looks like now, but soon it will look like this. And some of the businesses in the area will get a facelift.
We have enough liquor stores, gaming facilities. We want to bring some positive change to that community.
Councilman Pittman says she wants to see more businesses move in and a grocery store, as well as after-school programs. Neighbors are ready for the change.
It messes up the community when things just sit and rot. So good, let them come.
It's promising, trust me it is.
The chef says he is moved by the community's support.
It would mean a lot, basically showing that they never forgot about us.
And I am told this fall they are going to start planting trees right here along Moncrief Road. And coming up, there's another project coming to this area, a $1.5 million project that's going to bring jobs and healthy options for families. That part coming up all new at 11. Reporting live in Moncrief, Amber Kriska, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
I'm Action News Jax. First alert, Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Tropical storm Jerry continuing to strengthen now as it makes a move toward the Caribbean, while a cold front has just moved through our area and will bring some of the coolest temperatures we've had in months. In your first alert forecast after the break.
Coming up, two stories you still haven't seen on Action News Jax. First,
the man accused of killing his wife and her 4 children, leaving their bodies in 2 different states, is now back in Florida.
He would open the car door for her. He would change the kids' diaper.
Why the victim's family says there were no signs something like this would happen.
Then,
cases of pregnant women with high blood pressure are on the rise.
My first daughter came 6 weeks early. She was 3 pounds, 5.5 ounces.
How you can protect your baby from the risks that come with it.
More local stories straight ahead. Next on Action News Jax.
Michael Jones could face dozens of years behind bars for killing his wife and pending charges for the couple's 4 young children's deaths if he's convicted. Today, he was brought down from Georgia to Marion County, where deputies believe the murders happened. Action News Jack's Megan Moriarty spoke with the sister and aunt of the victims, who say that they seem like a happy family that loved each other.
He would open the car door for her. He would change the kids' diaper.
Casey's sister Sarah explains what she thought was a happy life between her sister and brother-in-law Michael Jones.
It was just the perfect little family.
Why did you allegedly do it, Micah? Michael Jones didn't speak today when he was taken to the Marion County Jail wearing shackles and an orange jumpsuit. Investigators believe he killed his wife and her 4 children 6 weeks ago and kept their bodies and drove around with them inside his van.
We all want to know why and trying to make sense of really a senseless act. And I can tell you, whatever excuse that he would give, any reason why is not going to be enough.
Deputies believe that Michael used Casey's cell phone to text her family and check in, which is why it took a while for investigators to get word of her disappearance.
If any of us would have saw something that would have suggested that he could hurt them in any way, we wouldn't have stood by and done nothing.
Gilbert hopes to see justice served for her sister and nieces and nephews.
To have to sit in prison for the rest of his life and see flashes of them in his mind every day.
Megan Moriarty, Fox 30 Action News Jax.
And one thing Gilbert said that she wanted people to be aware of is that there are people making fake GoFundMe accounts claiming to be raising money for the family. And she says do not donate to those pages, and that there are several people pretending to be her trying to make money off their tragedy.
The local teen who was charged with killing his grandmother, Christina French, in her Neptune Beach home says that he is guilty. Logan Mott was 15 at the time of the murder. In 2017, investigators found French buried in a shallow grave. Mott fled and was later found at the Canadian border. 2 years later, the now 17-year-old decided to enter a plea agreement. Action News Jack's law and safety expert Dale Carson says that because Mott was charged with second-degree murder, it's unlikely Mott planned to kill his grandmother.
He acted out. He's young, so his ability to understand fully the consequences of his actions is not matured at 15.
Mott now faces anywhere from 15 to 40 years in prison.
Now certified Jacksonville's most accurate weather forecast. Action News Jax First Alert Weather.
Well, the tropics remain very active. The good news is none of it is threatening Jacksonville, northeastern Florida, and southeast Georgia anytime soon, although we did have a few showers and thunderstorms around today and into this evening. That was because of a cool front. There goes Umberto, making its closest approach to Bermuda, just within, right there, you just make out Bermuda, within the last 6 hours, but moving away and conditions improving dramatically. This was not a direct hit, but some strong winds, hurricane-force winds, in fact, for a while, late this afternoon and this evening. You can see all the low clouds pushing down to the southwest on the backside of Umberto, and that's that northeast wind surging right into our area, impinging on the beaches, so rough seas and surf and a high rip current risk continues. Meanwhile, this is Jerry. Winds at 60 miles per hour. At 74 miles per hour, it's a hurricane, and it looks like it'll become a hurricane later tonight and into the day tomorrow as the storm moves to the west-northwest. The steering flow, much has been the case the last couple of weeks, hinges on the Bermuda High, which sits naturally this time of year over the Atlantic Ocean. The question is, how big is it? How strong is that Bermuda High? Well, by the weekend on Saturday, that high is pretty strong, but it's also pushing more to the east. There's a little bit of a jet stream dip here over the western Atlantic. There's also a little bit of an alleyway left behind Umberto, and guess what Jerry's going to do? Jerry wants to follow that weakness. It wants to follow that little alleyway as the Bermuda High stays to the east, far enough to the east that Jerry takes a pretty sharp turn to the north, well to the east of the Bahamas and of Florida, too. So let's zoom in on this forecast track. There's Puerto Rico. Here are the far northern parts of the Lesser Antilles, and there are tropical storm watches here. Close enough for some high winds and heavy rain, but the worst of the hurricane should be north and northeast, and certainly north of Puerto Rico the way it looks. Then the sharp turn to the north, well to the east of the Bahamas. Excellent news there, of course. And then far to the east of Florida by Monday afternoon, perhaps reaching Jacksonville's latitude Monday night and into Tuesday, but hundreds of miles to the east. 5 First Alert Doppler HD is dry this evening now after the showers that we had this afternoon into this evening. Bus stops a little cooler tomorrow morning in the 60s early on, at least inland, 70s at the beaches, and about mid-70s at 9 a.m. Partly sunny skies, but that east wind will bring in from time to time a few showers from the Atlantic inland to our coast, and that'll be true right on into Friday. But the temperatures are dramatically cooler. Really very nice, of course, obviously, in the 80s. Now, the Jags kick off tomorrow evening. That's an 8-20 ball game. Look for a partly cloudy sky. There's a slight chance that there could still be a shower coming in off the Atlantic, but the temperatures will be mild into the low 70s by the second half. Your weekend's always in view in the First Alert 7-day forecast. We're in the 80s all the way through the weekend into the middle of next week. Nighttime lows down into the 60s for every night in a row all the way through Wednesday. That's some good stuff. ActionNewsJax.com. Check out my tweets at Mike First Alert and Facebook fan page.
A man who was hit by a car and left on the side of the road has a message for the driver. Hear why he's forgiving the driver despite the trauma in an exclusive interview.
Dozens of cars broken into in St. Johns County. The key reason deputies say the burglaries happened. Coming up next.
The St. Johns County Sheriff's Office says several suspects linked to 20 car break-ins are on the run. 2 of the men have since been caught. Action News Jack's Elizabeth Pace tells us police say the burglarized cars were not locked.
2 men are behind bars. 2 more are on the run. The St. Johns County Sheriff's Office says these 2 18-year-olds are a couple of the guys linked to 2 stolen SUVs and at least 24 other car burglaries. Deputies say that those unlocked cars had guns in them. Now, they've already been able to link a couple of those cases to this neighborhood behind me in the Southeast District. And now they're warning everyone to take any valuables you may have out of your car.
Knowing this and hearing this, definitely, I'll be locking it up for sure.
Deputies chased down the first stolen SUV in the Villano area. They say 4 people jumped out of the car. 1 was caught on the spot. They arrested another suspect Wednesday. Deputies found several other firearms in the stolen SUV, including a rifle. Around the same time, the sheriff's office received calls of about 20 other car burglaries in the Southeast District. Investigators have already linked 2 of the stolen guns to this neighborhood.
I'm pretty surprised, and I guess I'm going to start locking it up a little bit more often.
Deputies believe 2 other suspects took off with another SUV. They say it was last seen in Duval County. They're asking everyone to remove any valuables from your cars, especially guns.
Just take extra precautions and lock up. I don't trust that it's a good neighborhood because you never know when it's going to happen or where it's going to happen.
Reporting in St. Johns County, Elizabeth Pace, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
Jacksonville city leaders say new technology is helping them solve crimes faster, but Action News Jax investigates as to what's being done to stop the crimes before they happen. Today, the sheriff, mayor, and state attorney gave a progress report on how the Crime Gun Intelligence Center is working since it opened 6 months ago. The sheriff said they have a clearance rate of 60% when it comes to murder cases. Some neighbors told Action News Jax they feel like the technology is reactive and not proactive.
Well, there's not a lot of proactive type technology available, so, it's hard to anticipate when something may occur using technology. Technology really is about getting people there quicker, being more efficient.
The sheriff says now that all the technology is up and running, there is some work to do to make the grade when it comes to implementing it. When it comes to how the city is working with state and federal partners to handle crime with the technology, the sheriff gives it an A. When it comes to implementation, he told Action News Jax, since they're still learning, he'd give it a solid B+.
I'm Action News Jax. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. It's a sort of September chill, dare I say. It'll be really pretty comfortable. Your Jags forecast and tracking the tropics in your First Alert weather in minutes.
Plus, a new video shows the reality of modern-day school life. What the organization behind it hopes will come from the public service announcement.
Tracking the tropics tonight, the First Alert Weather Team waiting a new advisory on Tropical Storm Jerry, which you can see right there, the current track for other tropical disturbances as well. Ooh, it's busy out there.
Yeah, First Alert Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish here now, and you expect to get some new data in the next half hour.
Yeah, within the next probably even 15 to 20 minutes or so, and that'll be on Jerry in particular. That's the one of greatest interest because it will head to the west-northwest, getting awfully close to the Caribbean. The rest of these are not really an issue for us locally, although the rip currents are very serious still at our area beaches. We can't emphasize enough that the best advice is to stay out of the water. Unfortunately, all the way through the weekend, we're going to have the rip currents and the rough seas and surf. Jerry now is continuing to organize and strengthen. It should not be long before Jerry is a hurricane, and the movement to the west-northwest, as we saw just a minute ago, just missing the northeastern Caribbean for the most part. There are tropical storm watches in effect for a few of the smaller islands east of Puerto Rico, and then the sharp bend toward the north. There's no rain left anywhere across the area after some scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms today and into this evening, and what has turned into a fairly dry period now, especially inland, and it's going to stay that way now for the better part of the next 4 or 5 days. We will have a few showers every once in a while moving in off the Atlantic, but it's not widespread rain, and boy, it keeps temperatures in check. Highs are only going to be in the mid-80s for the next 5 days, and low temperatures a bit below average in the very comfortable 60s. Your First Alert 7-day forecasts in about 15 minutes.
3 people have now been charged in connection to a home invasion and shooting in Bradford County. The Sheriff's Office tells Action News Jax that Caitlin Drerup shot a woman in Lottie this morning. This is a photo from the Sheriff's Office. Deputies say the shooting happened while she and 2 other men were hiding in an RV after breaking into another woman's home and stealing items while holding her at gunpoint. Lottie Elementary was put on lockdown as this happened.
The sheriff of Bradford County is heading to Washington. Sheriff Gordon Smith will head to D.C. as part of a group of sheriffs meeting with President Trump and Vice President Pence. Sheriffs were invited by the Federation for American Immigration Reform. They'll discuss immigration and other issues. That'll take place next Tuesday through Thursday.
It is a powerful video that will make you want to hold your child tighter tonight. A new PSA released by Sandy Hook Promise wants you to stay aware of the signs to prevent school shootings. The video shows kids using their back-to-school items to survive a shooting. And we do want to warn you that what you're about to see might be disturbing.
These scissors really come in handy in art class. These colored pencils, too. These new socks, they can be a real lifesaver. I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
It goes on to say that shootings are preventable if you know the signs. More information about that is on actionnewsjax.com.
Hard to watch that.
Now, in Florida, there is a new statewide campaign aimed at addressing school threats made by students.
Action News Jax Elizabeth Pace found dozens of more threats are being made across the state each year and how this campaign hopes to change that.
Nearly 800 threats were made against Florida schools last year, according to the Florida Department of Juvenile Justice. It's about 100 more than the year before.
We do talk about it all the time. We do. And not just from the, oh my gosh, this happens. You know, their questions are why.
We reached out to each local school district to learn how many threats were made against their schools and waiting to hear back. The last school in St. Johns County to receive a threat of violence was Nice High School in May. Now, the state says that more and more people are making threats against Florida schools each year. I've been talking to some of these parents out here right now, and they told me they're thankful to see a new campaign to spread awareness about this issue. It's called the It's No Joke Awareness Campaign. The state says their goal is to remind students about the seriousness of these threats that can result in a felony charge and show them how to report it online.
I think it's good because, unfortunately, you know, as they grow up, it's not only schools they have to worry about nowadays. It's happening at malls or at movie theaters.
The parents I talked to in St. Johns County say that they feel good about the safety precautions in their children's schools, but agree this is a conversation they need to have with their kids.
We do everything we can. I want them to live their lives, but be aware.
Anyone can report a threat through local law enforcement. You can report it anonymously through Florida's Fortify app. Reporting in St. Johns County, Elizabeth Pace, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
Because of delays in reporting, it's hard to get a current look at the number of threats against schools nationwide. The most recent numbers from the National Center for Education Statistics are from 2015-2016 school year. That year, there were about 10,000 threats in schools nationwide. That's about 8% of all schools. Another 40,000 schools had unplanned fire alarms. That's 26% of all schools nationwide.
JSO needs help tracking down other cars involved in a deadly crash that killed a high school student Monday. Yesterday, we told you about 16-year-old Keandre Moss. His family says he was a lifelong Chiefs fan. He was killed after losing control of his car on Oakleaf Village Parkway Monday. 2 passengers were severely hurt. Action News Jack's law and safety expert Dale Carson says the investigation will go into Clay County and the school the car left before the crash.
They're going to look at traffic light cameras, things of that nature, which are plentiful in Clay County, and try to identify the vehicles that were ultimately involved with this particular accident.
And Carson says if it can be shown that another car made contact with the car Moss was driving, the other driver could be charged with leaving the scene of a deadly crash, which is a felony.
Classmates at Oakleaf High School are organizing a memorial with a moment of silence for Keandre Moss. It'll happen at 6:45 Friday night before the homecoming football game. Participants are asked to wear purple in his honor. It is a recovery story Action News Jax has been following for almost a year now. A Green Cove Springs father, left for dead in November, tells only Action News Jax he wants to know why the driver left him that day. Brandon Batchelor was walking along Blanding Boulevard to get ice cream for his son when he was hit by a truck and left on the side of the road. At first, doctors didn't think he would survive. He lost his eyesight and his left leg in that crash. It's been a difficult journey, but through it all, Batchelor says he's found it in his heart to forgive the driver.
You have to forgive to be forgiven, so I forgive the person. I don't have no grudge toward him.
FHP says they found a blue mirror where Batchelor was hit. Troopers believe it belongs to a Chevy Silverado or GMC Sierra pickup truck. If you have information that could help solve this case, please call Florida Highway Patrol. The future of a portion of St. Augustine will be discussed tomorrow night at a public workshop. A 3D rendering will be shown of the Bridge of Lions. It's part of the Complete King Street Master Plan project that includes Cordova Street to Avenida Menendez. The meeting starts at 5:30 at the Governor's House, Cultural Center and Museum. There will be public comment.
A new walk-up bar has been approved by the city to move into the St. John's Town Center. We first showed you renderings for the Tommy Bahama Marlin Bar back in April. The patio bar is expected to be located in the walkway that leads to the Nordstrom wing. It's expected to open early next year. Florida Blue and Walgreens are teaming up to offer free flu shots tomorrow. They'll be available to anyone 18 years and older, even if they have health insurance with another provider or do not have health insurance at all. The shots will be given at locations on your screen from 10 a.m. until 1.
New technology for breast cancer screening is making it easier for doctors to detect breast cancer and help save lives. Baptist is using 3D mammograms to help detect more cancers than the standard mammogram. Doctors say they reduce a patient's need for follow-up visits, and it also helps patients with dense breast tissue because it's harder to detect cancer there. Joni Hayes is a breast cancer survivor. She was diagnosed with cancer 4 years ago.
Having the mammogram, though, saved my life because the tumor was so deep that there's no way that a physical exam would have shown it, and so the only way to have found it would be the mammogram.
If a patient does not have insurance and pays out of pocket, Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center will provide a quote, but the average cost in other hospitals could be between $100 to $200. There are 6 Baptist locations that offer 3D mammograms, including in downtown. Healthcare access is something some of us take for granted with insurance, but not everyone in our area can afford to get medical help when they feel sick. Action News Jax Christy Turner shows us what city leaders are doing to open free clinics in some of our neediest areas.
Duval County ranks 44 out of Florida's 67 counties when it comes to overall health outcomes.
Access to health care is one of the biggest barriers to health care.
Volunteers in Medicine is a free clinic in Northeast Florida for the working, low-income uninsured to keep them healthy in out-of-hospital emergency rooms.
Just one visit alone could be $1,800, and someone can't pay for that. If a patient can't pay for it, someone else is going to be paying for that, whether it's the organization, taxpayers.
CEO Jennifer Ryan says right now they provide 1,700 patients with medical services, including mental health, prescription medications, and eyeglasses, all under one roof in downtown Jacksonville. The program is asking the city of Jacksonville for nearly $98,000 to help expand services into its top zip code, 32210 on the west side.
There's a lot going on in 32210. It is the highest emergency room utilization, so people in that zip code are using ERs the most. It also sees the highest infant mortality, which tells us about the health of the community, as well as hypertension and diabetes.
The West Side Clinic would be open twice a week. Ryan says the expansion would help them serve hundreds of more people.
I think it will benefit our community, and I think we all want to be healthy. We want our neighbors to be healthy.
Christy Turner, Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The reigning World Cup champions are coming to Jacksonville. The U.S. women's national soccer team will play at TIAA Bank Field on November 10th. And check out this video from last year's match against Mexico right here at the bank. The team will play Costa Rica. It will be the team's last match of the year. I am certain it will be packed. Tickets go on sale in 2 weeks, and you can find that information on actionnewsjax.com.
Well, here's a live look at TIAA Bank Field tonight. Tomorrow night, the Jags take on the Tennessee Titans right here at home. The game starts at 8:20. You can watch it on the NFL Network. If you are planning on attending the game, you might notice some changes. You can now bring a sealed water bottle to every game. There will be new points of entry, an increase in ticket scanners and gate staff. Fans will see shade structures at each entry point as well. And on hot days, misting fans will be added outside for those waiting in line to get in. And your official Jaguar stations, CBS 47, Fox 30, have you covered. After the game, catch the Action Sports Jax post-game show. Brent and Dan will have coach and player reactions from the game. You can download the Action News Jax app or visit the Action News Jax Facebook page to tune in.
The Great Gorilla Trade coming up all new at 11. How the Jacksonville Zoo is teaming up with the zoo hundreds of miles away to protect the great apes.
I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burris. The new numbers are just in on Jerry. It continues to strengthen, now less than 10 miles per hour at wind speed from becoming a hurricane. And an updated track forecast right after the break.
Major concerns about pregnant women developing high blood pressure during pregnancy.
My first daughter came 6 weeks early. She was 3 pounds 5.5 ounces and stayed in the NICU for about 3 weeks.
Coming up on Action News Jax at 10, the dangerous health effects both moms and babies can suffer and what women can do about it.
New research reveals a big increase in high blood pressure among pregnant women.
The condition can cause a major health risk for both mom and baby.
Chanel Bradley is diligent about checking her blood pressure. Now pregnant with her second child, she developed hypertension during her first pregnancy. The condition caused Chanel to deliver far earlier than expected.
My first daughter came 6 weeks early. She was 3 pounds, 5.5 ounces, and stayed in the NICU for about 3 weeks.
Chanel is among a growing number of pregnant women in the U.S. battling high blood pressure. New research in the journal Hypertension finds the cases of women with high blood pressure when they become pregnant or who have it diagnosed in the first 2 trimesters has seen a 13-fold increase over the past 4 decades. The study defined high blood pressure as a reading of 140/90 or higher. Dr. Amy Stoddard from UCLA Health says the increase is largely due to more women becoming pregnant later in life and warns the condition can cause serious health risks, including kidney failure, stroke, and increased risk of stillbirth. Pregnant women with high blood pressure require extra prenatal care.
More ultrasounds to check to make sure that the baby is growing appropriately, and then, additional monitoring of the pregnancy as you get into the 3rd trimester.
Chanel now takes daily medication and keeps a close watch on her blood pressure. She encourages other moms-to-be to do the same.
And the study published in the AHA's journal Hypertension also revealed that high blood pressure during pregnancy affects black women at more than twice the rate of white women.
All right, we have an update on the supplies that you donated to the Convoy of Care. Remember these? Well, some of the supplies you're seeing on your screen right now were just shipped out today and are expected to arrive, if they haven't already, on Grand Bahama Island soon. Action News Jax wants to thank everyone who donated to our relief effort for the islands. And you can still help folks in the Bahamas. They're recovering after Hurricane Dorian. ViStar Credit Union, our Action News Jax family focused partner, is collecting donations at any branch through October 31st.
Now certified Jacksonville's most accurate weather forecast. Action News Jax First Alert Weather.
And Mike, a lot of activity in the tropics still, including it could impact the Caribbean as well.
Yeah, exactly. Getting very close there. There were tropical storm watches are in effect in the extreme northeastern portions of the Caribbean. Tropical storm Jerry's almost a hurricane and will be soon. This is the brand new updated track and really no significant changes, and that's great news because it still looks like a sharp northward turn hundreds of miles to the east of Jacksonville, even more to the east than Humberto was, way further east than Dorian, so it's good news. About 770 miles to the east at its closest approach about Monday afternoon and evening, and obviously on that track we are in good shape. This is not a storm that's going to really impact us in any way, shape, or form. However, it will continue to enhance that onshore northeasterly flow, so we'll continue to have a rip current risk at area beaches, a potentially dangerous rip current risk as the hurricane by 8 o'clock Sunday evening is working its way to east of the Bahamas. Then that turn pretty sharp to the north and northeast later Monday and Monday evening. Here's the wider view, and there it is. Very close, but staying a little north of the islands of the northeastern Caribbean, north and northeast of Puerto Rico. Good news there. It's all good news along this path, despite becoming a hurricane, and then that turn more to the north. Now, maybe a problem for Bermuda again, believe it or not, in a week's time, just getting rid of Humberto there right now. So we widen the view a little bit on our visible satellite photograph. We have 3 named storms, by the way, in the East Pacific as well, so it's very busy in the tropics, and then 3 over the Atlantic basin, although Imelda is now over land in Texas and weakening, still producing heavy rain. Humberto right now is a little more than 1,000 miles away from Jacksonville, accelerating off to the north and east and weakening. More than 2,000 miles away is Jerry, although just barely more than 2,000 miles away. And a wave to watch here over the Caribbean that'll be working its way west-northwest bound. We don't have any rain on 5-Sweep First Alert Doppler HD, but with a persistent wind off the Atlantic the next couple of days, every once in a while we'll see a few showers, even in the morning hours closer to the coast. And then just about anywhere in the afternoon, both tomorrow and Friday, but there'll be plenty of dry hours. The story is really the temperatures. Check it out. The next 4 mornings, and we'll go beyond that, even into next week. Nighttime lows in the 60s, a little bit below average. And in fact, it's the longest stretch of temperatures below 70 degrees since the middle of May. 4 months. It's going to feel nice, you guys. And we'll have every once in a while those showers that'll move westbound off of the Atlantic, providing a little bit of rainfall every once in a while. we're actually getting pretty dry in many spots, especially inland. This won't really help out a whole lot, but there will be a few showers from time to time on and off tomorrow night, right on into the day on Friday. But again, there will be a lot of hours where it's not raining at all. And for the Jags game, talk about more comfortable compared to a couple of weeks ago. Temperatures that'll be in the 70s. By the fourth quarter, it'll be down into the low 70s under partly cloudy skies. There are those pleasant temperatures all the way through the early and middle part of next week, and largely dry. ActionNewsJax.com. So for the latest First Alert weather, check out Talking the Tropics with Mike, the Burrish blog, and download the First Alert weather app for free.
Start your morning with the latest Action News Jax First Alert forecast. It begins at 4:30 on Fox 30.
New at 11, cracking down on dangerous driving on golf carts.
They're not, paying attention, or they're on their phones, or they're just being erratic.
The new push for safety in local golf cart communities.
Investing in a local neighborhood in need of a boost.
It would mean a lot, basically showing that they never forgot about us.
From lighting and trees to new parks, the multi-million-dollar plan to turn the area around.
It's the best local sports show in Jacksonville. This is Action Sports Jax, powered by Safe Touch Security.
We sat down yesterday. We talked about, what's going on as far as he and I, and, it's like anything else in this profession. It's behind us now.
Doug Marrone talking to Jalen Ramsey, and while it sounds like all is good now, well, I might be the owner of the Sunshine and Rainbows Club, but I'm not sure I'm buying that. Jalen Ramsey will play tomorrow night against the Tennessee Titans. He will get the start, says Doug Marrone. When he runs out of the tunnel at the bank, it might be his 51st and final game in a Jaguars uniform. The Jags know this is a big game, even if Ramsey is still the headliner.
Man, ain't no telling what's really going through his mind, but one thing he's done, he stayed positive. He's still showing up with us, and like he said, he'll still be rocking with us until something happens, so we'll see.
Everyone continues to talk about Jalen Ramsey, and we did it again today on the radio side. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Maurice Jones-Drew joined us and was really good on the topic. Told us he once asked for a trade from the Jags, didn't get it. Listen to the show Monday through Friday, 3 until 6. If you missed it today, you can still watch and listen on 10 different platforms. Mojo also joined us on Jaguars All Access tonight. And on All Access Overtime, he and Jeff Lageman talked about Leonard Fournette. Leonard averaging 4 yards per carry so far this season. The Jags need even more.
What do you think of him, and what does he do well, and what does he need to do better?
Well, first of all, when I studied Leonard Fournette coming out of LSU, he was a physical downhill runner. I think that when you run a power scheme where it's A-gap to A-gap, that's where he's going to be at his best. He's not a zone runner, one-cut guy. So you want to try to help him be better at that, but that's not where he's going to flash. You want to make sure you're pulling guys down. You're making sure that you're creating holes that guys can run through this so he can power through them. That's his game, is running with power and then getting in open space, running on corners and safeties. No one wants to tackle him. What he can improve on, and I think with a rookie quarterback, and I had to do it a lot with Blaine Gabbert, is route running. Find a way to get out there and run choice routes, catching the ball with your hands, not always check downs. Find ways to get him in space because he has the speed to take it the distance. We've seen that before. I would throw screens to this man and just have linemen go out and block for him and find a way to get some things going.
I wish he had a little bit more movement like you did back in the day, the rolling ball of Butcher Knives, Maurice Jones-Drew.
Fun catching up with Mojo today. Mojo will be doing the first Duval tomorrow night for that NFL Network game. Primetime football on Friday night, too. It's our Action Sports Jacks Friday Night Blitz game of the week. We are going to Southeast Georgia for Brunswick against Camden County, and we will call that one on ESPN 690. Have the video on all of our social media platforms, 7:30 kick for that game. The Jacksonville Sharks have a new football coach, NAL champs, the Arena League team in town. Promoted James Fuller. He was the defensive coordinator and takes over for Sia Burley after leading the team to a title. Burley and the Sharks could not come to terms on a new contract. HBO announced Florida Gators will be part of a Hard Knocks style show coming in October. It'll be called 24/7 College Football. Florida, Penn State, Arizona State, and Washington State will be featured on the show. The first episode with the Gators will start in October. And did you catch that? Washington State will be featured on the show, which means Mike Leach will be featured on the show. That will be the star of the show.
You had him on your radio program.
We did last week. Yeah,
fantastic
he's fun.
for Minshew Mania. But thanks, Mike. Looking at a pretty nice forecast here. Cooler temperatures, finally. There'll be a few brief showers coming off the Atlantic tomorrow. It'll be breezy in the 60s in the morning, at least inland, and only 80 to 85 in the afternoon. Goodness, it's almost sweater weather.
Yeah.
I mean, not quite.
Yeah. Much more coming up on Fox 30 and CBS 47. We're back in less than 2 minutes. Following breaking news tonight, JSO needs your help to find a woman that may have been carjacked by her boyfriend. In these pictures, you can see Marsha Ann Higgins and her boyfriend, Bradley Chilton. According to the person that called police, he may be holding her against her will, possibly near Jacksonville Beach. So take a close look at their photo and at this car. Police want you to look out for a silver four-door Toyota Scion with Tennessee plates. And if you see them, please call police.
Also right now, the new forecast track for Tropical Storm Jerry came out just minutes ago. Jerry's winds are getting stronger as it approaches the islands of the eastern Caribbean. The First Alert Weather Team tracking 3 named storms with Tropical Depression Imelda bringing flooding to eastern Texas, Hurricane Umberto bringing damaging wind and rain to Bermuda. There's particular concern about Tropical Storm Jerry because it is on track to come close to the Bahamas and Puerto Rico. I'm John Bachman.
I'm Tanika Hughes. Let's get over to First Alert Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish over in the First Alert Weather Center.
And soon to be a hurricane, about 2,000 miles away right now from Jacksonville to the southeast. Tropical Storm Jerry, the wind sustained at 65 miles per hour. Once it's to 74 miles per hour, it's a hurricane, and that should happen either later tonight or during the day tomorrow. And there's that movement to the northwest, then the sharp turn to the north, which obviously is really important for both the islands and the Bahamas, and then finally for Florida, too. Stays north, though, of Puerto Rico, the way it looks, by a pretty good distance, 100-plus miles, but close enough to the far northeastern Caribbean islands where we do have a tropical storm watch for later Friday into Friday night. Then an even sharper turn to the north keeps this well east of the hard-hit Bahamas from recent weeks, and more than 700 miles to the east of Jacksonville as we start the whole curl back to the north and northeast by later Monday and Monday night. That's great news for us right here at home. Plenty more going on in the tropics. The full First Alert forecast in 15 minutes.
Parents who send their kids to a local charter school have been waiting 3 years for something most schools get: school zone signs. We're talking about the Bridge Prep Academy, which is on Atlantic Boulevard and Spring Forest Avenue, just east of University. Action News Jax investigator Danny Bozzini is live in the First Alert Storm Tracker. Danny, parents' quest for answers led to even more questions.
For 3 years, they've been pushing for signage, and so far, nothing has been done. We're inside the First Alert Storm Tracker at the intersection of Spring Forest Avenue. You can see there's no marked sidewalks or school zone signs around. The only ones here are no parking signs, which are right up ahead on the right. There's no indication that a school is right here. It's lack of signage that's making some parents concerned for their kids' safety. For the past 3 years since Bridge Prep Academy opened its doors, Danielle Winston and Bobby Carey have been begging for school zone signs.
Last year, the city came out and see those no parking signs. Put all of those no parking signs up and down the school on that side and this side of the street. If they can afford to do that and take the time to do that, why could they not put school signs up?
They've contacted everyone they could think of: Duval Public Schools, the city, the school itself, even FDOT. But they haven't gotten any straight answers or action.
Public schools, they're not that much different than ours. They really aren't, and they all have their signage. They can get what they need.
After years of frustration, Carrie went as far as to donate these Slow Children signs to the school, but she's still waiting for signs to be put up everywhere else.
I just went out and just bought the Slow Children, but you see they only face one direction. Not everybody can see them, but that's what I did just to try to help, trying to make people aware that there is a school here.
We spoke to our law and safety expert Dale Carson, who says under state law the city would be responsible for requesting school signage from the Department of Transportation. All Carrie and Winston want is for the students to be safe.
I would like the city, somebody, anybody, to please put up school signs.
I reached out to the city about 2 hours ago to see if they put in any requests for signage to the DOT. I will let you know what the city says as soon as they get back to me. Live in Jacksonville, Danny Bozzini, CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
JSO is investigating some gunfire on the west side. Happened this afternoon, and we took you live to Barnett and Prince Streets as the story was breaking at 6. JSO says a number of shots were fired, but they have not found anyone that got hurt. Despite that, JSO will collect the evidence because it may be able to help them with some other cases. And that's just one of the functions of JSO's Crime Gun Intelligence Center. The national database of guns and gun casing information called NIBIN is one of the center's resources. At a news conference today, the sheriff told us since the Crime Gun Intelligence Center opened in April, they've had 254 cases with NIBIN leads, 171 unique guns involved in those cases, and 70 of those guns have been recovered.
I think in terms of implementation, getting stuff here, and there's a lot of, this is not just a JSO grade, but in terms of, the city's participation, the partnership with the state and federal partners, obviously our heavy level of partnership with the state attorney's office, I'd give that part an A.
According to JSO, there have been 95 murders in Jacksonville this year. JSO has cleared 56 of the cases, that's more than half, and there were 110 murders in all of 2018 in Jacksonville.
Action News Jax learned some details of the city's most recent murder by searching JSO records. A man in his 20s has died days after a shooting in Englewood. JSO has not shared the name of the man who was shot last Friday near the Welcome Food Store on Spring Glen Road. He was taken to a hospital Friday night. At the time, JSO said that the victim was expected to survive. Police are looking for a maroon four-door car in this murder. New at 11, the city is pointing to a second program that they say is also seeing success in fighting crime. The Cure Violence program treats violence like a disease. After a shooting or murder, they send people called peacekeepers into the area to keep the disease from spreading by working to prevent retaliation. The city gave us this map of the 2 areas of focus for Cure Violence. Since Cure Violence launched in June, both areas had at least one 25-day-long stretch without a shooting or killing. The mayor said, quote, "It's a small step, but the right one."
Today, a local teen accused of killing and then burying his grandmother outside of a Neptune Beach home told a judge that he is guilty. Logan Mott was 15 years old at the time of the murder 2 years ago. The teen was captured in his grandmother's car trying to get into Canada. On the same day, Christina French's body was found. He faces up to 40 years in prison. He'll be sentenced in October.
The Marion County man suspected of killing his wife and her 4 children stayed silent as he was taken from the jail to the courthouse, where reporters from across the state tried to ask him questions. Investigators believe he killed his wife, Casey Jones, and her 4 children 6 weeks ago. For the last 2 to 3 weeks, he was driving around with their bodies in his car, according to investigators. He was found in Brantley County, Georgia. Action News Jax spoke with the victim's sister and says she would have never expected this from him.
Any of us would have saw something that would have suggested that he could hurt them in any way. We wouldn't have stood by and done nothing.
Autopsies could be completed as early as tomorrow. That's also when Jones is expected in court for his first appearance.
2 serious cases involving teens and golf carts just this year in St. Johns County. In January, 17-year-old Olivia Love suffered serious head injuries when she fell off the back of a golf cart in St. Augustine. And then in July, 14-year-old Luke Tabor had a traumatic brain injury from an incident in Durbin Crossing. Well, now deputies there say they're cracking down on golf cart safety. Action News Jax investigator Russell Colburn spoke with the sheriff's office tonight. He joins us live in Nocatee. And Russell, you've even showed the commander concerning video about who is driving the golf carts there.
Yeah, we shot that video right here at this intersection, which during the day is a busy one because you have the shopping center right there. We saw multiple golf carts really crossing in front of cars with no lights to help. In the wake of 2 St. Johns County golf cart tragedies, tonight parents are pushing for change.
We need somebody on the trails all times. It's daily that I go out there and I get a young teenage driver that doesn't know what they're doing.
Nocatee mom Megan Perkins is a member of the St. Johns County Sheriff's Advisory Council, or SHADCO. She wants more enforcement and the state to increase the age you can drive a golf cart from 14 to 16.
I believe that this state law needs to be changed. 14 is too young. If you don't have a driver's license, you should not be driving a golf cart.
It's one of the topics Commander Scott Beaver tackled during a Wednesday night information session. Action News Jax showed him this video, which appears to show young people under 14 driving a golf cart through a busy shopping center in peak rush hour.
If I was patrolling and I saw this, I would definitely stop and make sure that these 2 young men are 14 years or older. They have their valid photo ID.
Beaver says the county will see more patrols and golf cart rules enforcement, even deputies on golf carts. Perkins says it's a start.
The #1 safety concern right now is golf cart safety.
And the Sheriff's Office says they will also be sponsoring golf cart safety classes, and we'll keep you updated on that. Live in Nocatee, Russell Colburn, CBS 47 Fox 30, Action News Jax.
JSO needs help tracking down any other cars that were involved in a deadly crash that killed a high school student Monday. Yesterday, we told you about 16-year-old Keandre Moss. His family says he was a lifelong Chiefs fan. He was killed after losing control of his car on Oakleaf Village Parkway Monday. 2 passengers in his car were severely hurt. Classmates at Oakleaf High School are organizing a memorial for Moss. It'll happen at 6:45 Friday night before the football game. Everyone is asked to wear purple.
A sexual predator who admitted to killing a local mom was sentenced to death. Action News Jax told you in May when Donald Davison pleaded guilty to the 2014 murder of Roseanne Welsh. The sexual predator admitted to cutting off his ankle monitor, killing the mother of 2 in her Middleburg home, and kidnapping her 10-year-old daughter. Welsh's loved ones say that death is the sentence that Davidson deserves.
She's just a special part of us that we'll never get back. We'll see her in heaven one day.
Action News Jax also spoke with the woman that Davidson was convicted of attacking 4 years before Welsh's murder. She says knowing he'll be put to death brings her closure.
Action News Jax first alert Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Pretty nice little cold front rolled through the area late this afternoon into this evening, and it will bring some big temperature changes. Plus, kickoff forecast for tomorrow evening for the Jags after the break.
Coming up, 2 stories you still haven't seen on Action News Jax. First,
helping an area where many people feel forgotten.
The neighborhood has kind of went down from what it used to be 15, 20 years ago.
The multi-million-dollar effort to keep big improvements in and undesirable elements out.
Then,
the great gorilla trade, how the Jacksonville Zoo is teaming up with the zoo hundreds of miles away to save these rare creatures.
more local stories straight ahead on Action News Jax.
Only on Action News Jax, breathing new life into a local neighborhood where many say they've felt forgotten over the years. The project to clean up and beautify Moncrief will begin this fall. Action News Jax' Amber Kriska is live in Moncrief. And Amber, council members behind the project say a major part of it is also going to bring in jobs.
Yeah, it's called the White Harvest Garden. They say it will bring in about 20 to 40 jobs. And you can see they've already got signs up and even a community garden out here. But eventually out here they're going to have an event center, a museum, a community farm where neighbors, they can learn how to eat healthy.
The neighborhood has kind of went down from what it used to be 15, 20 years ago.
But Chef John Cartel brought his food truck to the Moncrief area about a year ago. He says he believes in his neighborhood, and he says it feels good to know the city is investing in his community.
I grew up in this neighborhood, so it felt good to come back home.
It's going to bring back pride in the community, and it's going to show the community that Jacksonville really cares about them.
Council members Sam Newby and Jacoby Pittman are behind the $4.1 million beautification project. The work will stretch from 34th to 45th Streets. It will include trees, lighting, landscaping, maintenance, painting, safety improvements, and artwork. This is what the pedestrian overpass bridge looks like now, but soon it will look like this. And some of the businesses in the area will get a facelift.
We have enough liquor stores, gaming facilities. We want to bring some positive change to that community.
Councilman Pittman says she wants to see more businesses move in and a grocery store as well as after-school programs. Neighbors are ready for the change.
It messes up the community when things just sit and rot. So good, let them come.
It's promising, trust me it is.
The chef says he is moved by the community support.
It would mean a lot, basically showing that they never forgot about us.
And another project they're going to start on next year, Clenzel Park. They're going to upgrade the basketball court and add a football area. So some good things happening out here. Reporting live in Moncrief, Amber Kriska, CBS 47 Fox 30 Action News Jax.
New at 11, the Clay County Sheriff's Office is kicking off a new program aimed at recovering stolen cars quickly. It's called CAT for Combat Auto Theft. It's a simple yellow sticker that you put on your car. Deputies know if they see that sticker between 1 and 5 in the morning, the car is not where it's supposed to be. You need to register for the CAT program at either of the Sheriff's Office substations. Covering St. Johns County tonight, where deputies think 2 men are behind at least 24 car burglaries. They've already arrested 2 18-year-olds who deputies say they saw run from a stolen SUV. Deputies found guns in it that were traced back to a neighborhood in southeast St. Johns County. They say 2 other guys got away in a stolen SUV that was last spotted in Duval County.
The sheriff of Bradford County is heading to Washington. Sheriff Gordon Smith will go to D.C. as part of a group of sheriffs meeting with President Trump and Vice President Pence. They'll hold a discussion on immigration and other issues. The date of the trip has not yet been made public. A local free health clinic is hoping to expand to serve some Jacksonville's neediest areas. Volunteers in Medicine provides free health care to about 1,700 low-income uninsured patients. The program is asking the city for nearly $100,000 to open a new clinic in zip code 32210, where a majority of the patients come from.
There's a lot going on in 32210. It is the highest emergency room utilization. So people in that zip code are using ERs the most. It also sees the highest infant mortality, which tells us about the health of the community, as well as hypertension and diabetes.
Duval County ranks 44th out of Florida's 67 counties when it comes to overall health outcomes.
Families in need of help with Christmas or Thanksgiving have 9 more days to contact the Salvation Army for help through the Angel Tree program. Families need to go to the Salvation Army Tower Center of Hope on West Adams Street between 9 and 2 any weekday before September 27th. The appointment card will tell you what documents need to bring for a meeting to later qualify for help. Every year, Action News Jax sponsors an Angel Tree family. Eligible families will get a food basket to make a complete Thanksgiving dinner and new toys and clothes for kids 12 and younger for Christmas.
Now certified Jacksonville's most accurate weather forecast. Action News Jax First Alert Weather.
You do realize, quick calculation in the Burrish brain, and that is debatable, I understand. 98 days to Christmas, I believe, today. Ugh. I know, it's hard to, but the average temperature is only in the mid-60s by then. That's something to look forward to.
It is.
All right. So we only have 98 shopping days left, folks. All right, let's get down to the nuts and bolts here. of the tropics. We have Umberto weakening as it heads into the North Atlantic, moving away from Bermuda. We have Jerry strengthening over the Central Atlantic. There's some good news with Jerry because it continues to look like our area of high pressure, the Bermuda high, is going to hold strong across the Central and Eastern Atlantic, far enough to the east so that Jerry is forced to turn more northwest with time upon approach to the Caribbean, keeping the hurricane, which should be a hurricane, well to the north and east of Puerto Rico and far enough north of the islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, the British Islands here, just east of Puerto Rico, from having a direct hit. And then an even sharper turn once east of the Bahamas, really good news for the Bahamas, and then even starting to turn to the northeast at about Jacksonville's latitude, more than 700 miles away Monday evening. No impacts, folks, as long as that track verifies, and it may end up even being a little more east than that. 5 Street First Alert Doppler HD is pretty quiet. Don't have any rain across the area this evening after a few showers and even some thunderstorms today into early this evening. Now we'll have a persistent wind off the Atlantic. So we get some showers every once in a while, but it's not widespread or significant rainfall. And the story is going to be the cooler air that comes along with this flow off the Atlantic and a little bit of a northeast wind. Look at this. High temperatures stay below average for the most part the next 5 days, right through the weekend into early next week, only reaching the 80s. And even better yet, the nighttime low temperatures down into the 60s through the weekend and even into early next week as well. That's pretty good football weather, at least by our standards this early in the season, right? Jags kick off tomorrow evening at 8:20. Temperatures start out in the upper 70s to near 80 at kickoff, into the low 70s by the fourth quarter. Your weekend's always in view in the First Alert 7-day forecast with those pleasant highs in the 80s, lows in the 60s. A few scattered showers tomorrow and Friday, then largely dry over the weekend into the early and middle part of next week with slow warming. ActionNewsJax.com. Download for free the First Alert Weather app. In First Thing in the Morning, Garrett Beanbaugh.
3 gorillas are making their new home in the Jacksonville Zoo as part of a program to protect the species. The 3 western lowland gorillas had been living at the Denver Zoo. They are going to be set up with a 23-year-old female gorilla in hopes they will breed. 2 bachelor gorillas from Jacksonville were sent to Denver for the same reason.
Security cameras captured the moment when a suspected drunk driver plowed through the windows of a convenience store. This happened in Fort Lauderdale, and you can see the truck bust right through the wall-sized window. And a customer was right there at the counter, narrowly escaping injury.
The customer standing close by, and I think we had like the ball peanuts or coffee. Coffee sits on the counter, and it just splashed probably.
Police made the truck driver do a sobriety test and took him into custody. The store reopened about an hour later.
Drivers who use the main bridge connecting Tampa and St. Petersburg want changes after 2 cars went off the bridge. Talking about the Howard Franklin Bridge, which is also known as 275. A car went off the bridge this morning. That driver lived, but 3 weeks ago a driver died when their car flipped over the concrete barrier and into the water. Since the bridge was built in 1990, the safety standard for bridge barriers has increased by 6 inches.
Tonight on Colbert, I pull 95% among 95-year-olds. Stephen's All New with Billy Crystal.
Don't get me started.
Tonight.
best local sports show in Jacksonville. This is Action Sports Jacks, powered by Safe Touch Security.
We sat down yesterday. We talked about, what's going on as far as he and I, and, it's like anything else in this profession. It's behind us now.
All right, everything's all good now. I don't know. Doug Marrone talking Jalen Ramsey. Well, it sounds like all is good now. I'm not sure I'm buying that just yet. Jalen Ramsey will play tomorrow night against the Tennessee Titans. He will get the start, Doug Marrone says. When he runs out of the tunnel at the bank, it'll be his 51st game in a Jaguars uniform. Will it be his final game? The Jags know this is a big one, even if Ramsey is still the headliner.
Man, ain't no telling what's really going through his mind, but one thing he's done, he stayed positive. He's still showing up with us, and like he said, he'll still be rocking with us until something happens, so we'll see.
Everyone continues to talk about Jalen Ramsey. We did it again today. Maurice Jones-Drew joined us, and he was really good on the topic. He told us he once asked for a trade from the Jags, but didn't get it. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Listen to the show Monday through Friday, 3 until 6. We'll be live at Jag Stadium tomorrow. If you missed it today, you can still watch and listen on 10 different platforms. Mojo also joining us on Jaguars All Access tonight. And after All Access, we do All Access Overtime. He and Jeff Lageman talking about Leonard Fournette. Leonard averaging 4 yards per carry so far this season, but the Jags want more.
What do you think of him, and what does he do well? And what does he need to do better?
Well, first of all, when I studied Leonard Fournette coming out of LSU, he was a physical downhill runner. I think that when you run a power scheme where it's A-gap to A-gap, that's where he's going to be at his best. He's not a zone runner, one-cut guy. So you want to try to help him be better at that, but that's not where he's going to flash. You want to make sure you're pulling guys down. You're making sure that you're creating holes that guys can run through this so he can power through them. That's his game, is running with power and then getting in open space, running on corners and safeties. No one wants to tackle him. What he can improve on, and I think with a rookie quarterback, and I had to do it a lot with Blaine Gabbert, is route running. Find a way to get out there and run choice routes, catching the ball with your hands, not always check downs. Find ways to get him in space because he has the speed to take it the distance. We've seen that before. I would throw screens to this man and just have linemen go out and block for him and find a way to get some things going.
I wish he had a little bit more movement like you did back in the day, the rolling ball of butcher knives, Maurice Jones-Drew.
Leonard will have to be big tomorrow night. Mojo will be doing the first Duval tomorrow night for that NFL Network game. Primetime football on Friday night as well. It's our Action Sports Jacks Friday Night Blitz game of the week. We are going to Southeast Georgia for Brunswick against Camden County. It's a good rivalry game. We will call the game on ESPN 690 and have the video on all of our social media platforms. Jacksonville Sharks have a new football coach. NAL champs, the Arena League team here in town, promoted James Fuller. He was the defensive coordinator, takes over for Sia Burley after leading the team to a title. Burley and the Sharks could not come to terms on a new contract. HBO announced Florida Gators will be part of a Hard Knock style show coming in October. It'll be called 24/7 College Football. Florida, Penn State, Arizona State, Washington State will be on it.
All right, Brent, thank you very much. Final look at your first alert forecast after the break.
All right, we're looking at a pretty decent Thursday. It'll be breezy and a few showers coming in off the Atlantic. But check out those temperatures. The coolest in months. 60s in the morning, 80s in the afternoon.
Football game tomorrow night. Dare I say it feels like football out there.
Really nice. By Florida standards.
Yeah.
By Florida standards.
We'll see you tomorrow.